Alright, so you want to know all about these factory gauges in Minecraft Create mod. Well, I'm going to go over that with you, at least the basics of it. I'm probably not going to go through, the whole advanced spiel of it, but just how crazy this can get. Because you can make some pretty crazy automations with this, and they can get pretty deep into the rabbit hole, but I'm just going to show you a basic level because I kind of feel like that was lacking as a good tutorial somewhere in YouTube. So I figured, you know what? I'll put one out there for the people, because everybody needs to know how handy these are. And honestly, I've been sleeping on these too. I haven't even had a chance to use these. I'm just now getting to use these. So while it's fresh in my brain, I figure I'll pass the knowledge on to other people and maybe it will help other people as well. So let's get right on into it and just kind of get into the basics of a factory gauge. So what does a factory gauge do? Basically, you can limit your items in your main vault if you've got a main vault, and basically pull from that main vault and have it automatically craft or do whatever you want it to do. So that's what this is, what's happening right here. I'm saying, hey, if I've got not, 9 ingots right here, let's go ahead and grab those 9 ingots and make blocks of copper. Maybe I want blocks of copper for a build. So instead of me going through the trouble of crafting them all, I can just pull from my main source of inventory or my main vault I've been using and just tell it to go ahead and make X amount that I want. So like you can specify the number of items up to 100 or the number of stacks up to 100. So it's a good portion that you can kind of really specify. Let's just say I'm just going to make it something simple. I want 10 stacks. Right now I see it's got 6. So I've got 6 out of 10 stacks. And if you notice, if it's above or below, if it's already above the amount, it's not going to do anything. It's not going to take away or anything. It's not going to go back to ingots or whatever. It's just going to leave what it has above, but it won't make more. And just to show you that, I'm just going to go ahead and let's go ahead and convert all these over here. And I'm just going to pop some directly into this vault right here. Let's just pop a stack in there. Bam. So now it should update saying I got 33 out of 9. So that's what it does. It's reading that I have 33 iron ingots. And it's seeing that I've got 6 copper blocks in here. That's everything that's in this vault right here. So if I wanted to start making more copper blocks, I'm going to have to specify I'm going to need more than just 5 because right now I've set it at 5 as the limit. Let's push it one more to 7. So now I've told it I want 7 copper blocks. So now it sees that, it pulls the 9 and it comes over here where I've got it labeled compress. It's bringing all these copper ingots into this basin right here, where the mixer will then, or the presser will then press on down just like that. And it's going to go right into here, which is going to feed it straight back into the main vault. So just a key note about these frog ports, just be sure to put a sign with a lever or some kind of source of power, and make sure you label that sign the name of the frog port where your main vault is. So if your main vault is named main, just make sure to put a sign where the send package is going to send it back, matching the name, because that's the address it's going to be going to. It's going to the main vault. So that's how you address it. You put main right here. The frog port does not need to be named. Just put a sign right here. Now, the frog port that does need to be named is the frog port right here. So it needs to know where to get sent to. So the package here, if we click on this, you can actually click on these gauges. If you click on the gauge, once it's connected, and so I'm gonna back up. So if you're worried, you're like, oh my gosh, my screen doesn't look like that, or I'm just totally lost, hang in there. I'm gonna backtrack and I'm gonna go straight back to the beginning, but I want to showcase what this is doing. What's the point of this first? So what I've got here, I've specified I'm sending out 9 copper ingots to make 1 block. And I'm also telling it that I'm going to send the inputs. In other words, these 9 copper ingots, I'm going to send these 9 copper ingots to compress. And then the compress is this whole system right here. It's gonna run through the compressor. And it's gonna send itself right on back to the main inventory vault where it will keep track. So that's basically the gist of what's going on and what you need to do, what you basically need to know as far as just the basics of setting this stuff up. Now there's one part I've neglected to mention, which is probably I should have started with this, but this is why your screen looks different. You can actually click on that. That's not how I wanted to do, but you can actually click on the stock links itself to link it to the network. But let me just start from scratch because I did not want to do it that way. Factory gauge, bam. So what I wanted to do instead is normally what you would do is if you want to link this to your main vault system, and again, if it's linked to multiple vaults, as long as these are all in the same network, they will connect to all of the same vaults, just as long as these are all in the same network. So you notice I click on this, just like you would a stock link, because actually, let me give you some history. You use a stock link to actually make this. So in a way, it functions as a stock link, especially because it tells you the items. So in a way, just consider this like a stock link. You gotta connect it to a network to make it show the numbers and everything. So now I've got it connected. I'm just gonna place that right there. And now it says I've got a new factory task. I'm gonna place that right there. And you don't have to space it out like I'm doing. I'm just doing it to show you the connections here. So maybe this time I don't want copper, maybe I want iron instead. So what you want to do, you're going to place the block that you want here. Then I'm going to get some iron blocks. Oops, there it is, block of iron. And I'm just going to place it right there. So you get the next step to do to actually connect this to make this a functional piece right here. First of all, you can click right here, just make sure that everything looks good. Secondly, click over here and your screen should look like this now. So when you do add new connection, you can click right here and it will add the connection. So you want the output to be what you click on the connection. So if you want your iron ingots to make an iron block, click on the iron block and connect the new connection from there. So that should be where you add the new connection from, is your end result that you want. So I've connected the iron block to the iron ingot. Now if you notice these values are 0, it will say an error message when you click on these things. So right now it says inactive, no target amount set. It's saying I have not set any amount, and if you notice it's on inactive right now. So just to get us going, I'm just going to do 1. I just want 1 iron ingot block, or sorry, 1 block of iron. And right here it's still 1 as well, so I'm going to need to change that to a number. I'm just going to say 9 because that's the amount that is used to actually make a block. And so one important note here, sometimes you will need to actually adjust these amounts here. So if you notice there is only 1, you're going to want to change this to 9 if you're making a block. If you actually care about, you know, getting the block in a timely fashion. If you don't care about it being slow or whatever, they'll just do it 1 by 1 by 1. But this makes it give you all 9 in one package rather than doing 9 separate packages, which I promise you, if you are making a giant factory, you do not want a big mess of packages constantly flying everywhere. In fact, it can break your systems. So I recommend minimizing your package outputs as much as possible. So there's one more thing you can do to minimize your package outputs, and that's making a timer right here. So you can make these promises expire after 30 seconds, or they do not expire. In other words, they'll just sit there until the promise happens. And the promise is right here. So it's expecting this 1 iron block. It wants that 1 iron block, and it will wait until it gets it. Otherwise, it will keep trying every 30 seconds, minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, and so forth. So I'm just going to leave it at nothing for right now. I'm not going to leave it to expire. But if you have problems, just go ahead and change this to 30 seconds. See if that fixes your problem. Bump it up maybe to 1 minute, but try 30 seconds and see if that fixes problems if you're having problems. So I'm just going to start with this for right now. I've changed my value to 9. And now it's going to give me another error because it's now saying I'm missing a target address. So that's going back to what I was saying earlier. You have to name where you're going to send this to. So I'm sending this to the compress. So that's the compress right here. This is the compressor. He's named compress. I want this to go to the compress as well. So I'm going to send it as well to the compress. Bam. So right now I have no iron ingots. I'm going to put some iron ingots in here. And it should register. There's a 32. It's now going to see that it needs to fill that one up. There it goes. Going all into the presser. And again, it did 1 package, not 9 packages. It did the press. Oh, well, that's my fault. I actually would have needed to set the filter to that. So these are things you'll have to pay attention to when you are making your farms. Let me just make sure. 2039. It should be sending another package, I believe. It might not because of that promise thing. This is actually a good point right here. It might not be sending anymore because it's expecting a promise that it's not going to get. So if I update that to 30 seconds, I believe it will retry. Yep, it's going to retry now, and it's going to send it back again, because otherwise it's just going to wait forever and never get that signal. So, like I said, sometimes you might want to change this real quick just to see what happens. Maybe if you've got something stuck, like I just had stuck right there, just change the time, the promised delivery time, and that might fix it for you. So you notice I got the iron block, it got absorbed, now I got 1 out of 1. If I want to increase that, again, super easy. Now I want 2 stacks. I can control exactly how much I'm going to get and keep in my stockpile. So this is super useful if you have a bunch of both items, especially, or maybe you're making a farm of each item and you just want, like, for example, maybe you've got a bunch of iron ingots sitting in your farm. Maybe you don't have this part yet, or you just simply build out this compressor part right here. Just like it, I mean, you see how few blocks that is, and then you can specify to send anything that needs compressing right here, and it will be compressed just like so. So it's a super handy way to manage everything that you got. No need to build a factory for each individual item. You can literally just use the existing press that you have right here and make it on different items. Now again, you might need to change filters like we just went through, but as long as you remember to keep those filters in mind, or making a separate, one for each one. So for example, maybe I name this one the copper crusher, then let's have an iron crusher over there. It's just a little bit better instead of having to make a farm for each individual thing, if that makes sense. So maybe that's the route that you want to go instead. So make sure you leave this at 9. That way it will craft a whole block. So the proportions, the numbers, they can matter. And you just use your scroll wheel to actually just hover over it and use your scroll wheel to actually change it. Sometimes that can matter. So hopefully you found that helpful. Hopefully it eases you into the whole idea of the factory gauges, and now you can kind of move on from there and kind of experiment with it and figure the rest out for yourselves. So if you found any of this helpful, we'd really appreciate it if you go ahead and give us a big old like and a big old subscribe. It really helps out a lot. We've got more stuff coming your way in Create, especially Minecraft Create. So if you really like that content, please feel free to give us a subscribe. We're going to do not only just tutorials, but multiplayer stuff. We're thinking about doing, well, actually we're in the middle of doing our own TriCraft series, which is kind of like Hermitcraft in a way, but it's like Hermitcraft but Create. So if you're interested in something like that, then feel free to give us a subscribe and keep up to date. And we'll try to do some tutorials like this in between when we can, and some tours as well. With that said, hope y'all enjoy, and enjoy the rest of y'all's day.